Welcome to today's episode of the Daily Coffee Pro, friends. Today's episode of the podcast is brought to you by Elixir Specialty Coffee and our upcoming assertiveness training for the hospitality industry workshop that's happening in Sydney, Australia. If you'd like to grab your Elixir in Australia, grab a ticket to the event through mapitforward.org/events, and you can order some Elixir to pick up at the merch desk with your ticket. Today on the Daily Coffee Pro by Map It Forward, we are talking about business ownership in the coffee industry. And I guess the best way I can say this is that owning a coffee business is no joke. So many people that I meet, whether they contact me through the podcast or whether I meet them in just the world through coffee, through my walkings and wanderings through life, and they know that I'm in the coffee industry, we end up having a conversation about how they want to start a coffee business. And I spend a lot of my time trying to convince people not to do it. And the reason I do that is because most people are quite delusional with regards to how much work is going to be required to own a business in coffee, as well as the responsibility that comes with owning a business in the coffee industry. More and more, as we start to understand the complexity of the coffee supply chain, the responsibility of being a guardian of the supply chain is becoming more and more apparent to us as business owners, and the deep responsibility that we have to the hundreds of hands that touch the coffee that we are responsible for sending out into the world to the end coffee drinker. The way we as business owners that are selling this product finally to the end consumer, the way that we move within the world, the way that we employ people, the way that we represent the coffee that we're selling is a serious responsibility. Now, that's not to say that it's more serious than any other business. It's not to say that it's less serious than any other business. But what it is saying is that the barrier to entry for entry into a coffee business, as Steve Chang and I spoke about in the podcast the conversation that we had in the podcast last week, the barrier to entry for a business owner in most coffee businesses is only just higher than the barrier to entry for a barista. The only difference for a business owner is the starting capital that they'll need to do it. There are no requirements or degrees or anything that says that you can't go out there and start a coffee business. So it's actually a really great business to get into if you don't have any degrees or don't have any previous experience. But understanding the responsibilities and the challenges, as well as the anxiety and stress that come with owning any business, but particularly a coffee business in the frame of this conversation, needs to be made more apparent. This podcast is getting a reputation for the real talk, and I don't want to confuse real talk with negative talk. I am not a negative person. I am not a positive person. I am a realist. I like to look on the side of things working out. I like to be optimistic at the potentiality that everybody has when they're approaching something. But I'm very real about the actuality of the work that needs to get done in order to make things, or in order to take things from here in our mind and our creative imagination into manifesting into the real world. When I say that being in coffee business is no joke, that manifestation is what I'm really talking about. The number of business owners in the coffee industry that I have seen that have fallen apart is a really great way to put it. They have fallen apart from the anxiety and the stress and the depression that's brought on from being a business owner in this industry, because they were completely blindsided by how much they didn't know. And they were too deep in it before they realized how deep they were in it, and were too deep to get out without any long-term consequence. What do I mean by that? If you are listening to this and you are not in business, let's say you are a puppy barista or someone in your mid-career roaster years and you're sick of working for somebody else and you are thinking of asking your parents for some money or mortgaging your house and just starting your own business, I invite you to take pause. I don't want you to not open a business. I want you to open a business when it's the right time for you to open a business. I want you to be one of the absolute success stories, because there are far too many people that are failing. There are far too many people that are pretending to succeed. We have this thing in our industry, and I'm trying to figure out if it's because it's a predominantly male-dominated industry or whether it's just because the way our industry is constructed. But people don't like to talk about the fact that this is tough. I've not been shy about saying it. Business ownership in this industry is difficult. It is stressful. It has put me into holes of depression that I wished I never had to go in. Now, I'm also the person who's saying, do the hardship. And I believe everyone should do the things that are as hard as they can possibly take. I believe that the growth that you experience from that is rewarding for the rest of your life. I'm also a fan, though, of you giving yourself the best shot at success. And hard will always show up. It doesn't mean you have to be unprepared. Business is a battle. It's like going into war. It's like you're going into war with everything that you never wanted to know about yourself. So go in with weapons. Go in with confidence. Go in with assertiveness training. Go in with an understanding of how to read financial statements like profit and loss statements. Go in knowing how to build a culture. Go in understanding what the landscape of your craft is. Go in knowing how to build a network. All of these things will make the war more tilted in your favor. I wish I have known when I went into business for the first time 12 years ago how to do some of this stuff. I've built the skills over this is my 7th business now. Actually, Map It Forward is my 8th business. And some of my businesses have succeeded. Some of my businesses have failed abysmally without even really getting off the ground. The difference is of what I've experienced between the ones that have failed and the ones that have succeeded. The ones that have succeeded have come in the most recent businesses. So they failed and failed and failed in the beginning, and now the businesses that I'm starting and continuing with are doing well. And by doing well, that doesn't mean that we've got money in the bank. Doing well means that we have momentum and we are building wealth in our life currencies. We're able to pay the bills. We haven't got any debt, but we don't have any money in the bank. To me, for the progress that I've had so far, that's success. But it's been no joke. It is in no way been easy, and I am yet to meet anybody in business in the coffee industry that found it easy and lasted. Most people will pretend that they're doing it easy. Most people will tell you and pretend that they've got shit on lock. Eventually, they end up telling you down the road how things really are. That's not to say that there aren't moments of great success and moments where things feel like this is it. We're taken off. And I've absolutely felt those moments. And I even remember naively saying to a friend of mine, I finally feel what it feels like to make it. Yeah, famous last words. But the great thing is that the journey teaches you how to keep your feet on the ground. So, within a few days of saying that time a couple years ago, I finally know what it feels like to make it. Of course, I got hit with a new learning curve that absolutely sideswiped me. If you are thinking that you are failing in business, I want you to know it's not that you're failing in business. It's that you are up against it. And these people who are rah-rah positive with you, don't worry, you can make it, everything's going to be fine. I would just invite you to, instead of thinking about how can I be positive and how can I be negative, or am I being negative, how can I be as real as possible with what my situation is right now? And if you need help, you need help. Admitting that you are going through hard shit is not failure. I take a lot of strength from being able to be really vulnerable with you guys. And I hope that my vulnerability and me exposing you to the truth behind my story and the challenges that I've faced, I hope it encourages you to find your version of you, who you are to me. I hope you find that for you, and that you can find the strength in being vulnerable to that person, and perhaps creating something like a mastermind group where a group of you who are in either in different businesses but all in business can talk it out, can find encouragement. I certainly have those people in my life that I can call and I can say, hey, how are things going with you? And I can check in with them. I can also tell them when I'm finding things tough. And those people are godsend to me. So while business is no joke, business is there as a mechanism to teach you everything you never wanted to know about yourself. And when you're ready, despite how hard it's going to be, I encourage you to do it anyway if you can. If you can. On that note, peace, love, and peanut butter. Have an amazing rest of your day, friends.